What's going on, guys? This is the Centrepreneur here today with another video. Today we're talking about what is overpriced. So as you may have seen, I have done two lists in the past called overpriced fragrances and their less expensive counterparts. I'm in the works of doing a third. I'm just trying to figure out putting it together, and I thought it would be really cool before I did, I could talk about what exactly is overpriced, and in particular I'm looking at the context of an expensive fragrance versus a smaller clone that is not near as expensive. So that is a particular context here today. Now you can look at any fragrance and question whether it's overpriced or not, like Dior Homme Cologne from Dior. It lasts 3 hours, so longevity, is it worth it for that? That's not what we're talking about today. Today we're just talking about in the context of there's an expensive one, there's a cheap one, they smell similar. How do you know that this one is overpriced? So, without further ado, let's go. So the first thing I would like to get out of the way is that when we're comparing an expensive fragrance, like say a Creed, and a less expensive fragrance around $30, whether it's Mont Blanc Individuel, Tommy Bahama St. Bart's, something from a clone house, the expensive fragrance is almost always going to smell better. That's a simple fact. Now, the biggest way to tell that the expensive fragrance is overpriced is if the difference between it and the clone is very, very slim. For example, Creed Original Santal and Mont Blanc Individuel, there's not too big of a difference there. You know, they're very, very close. Individuel is priced at around $30, $40. The Creed, for the 75 ml size, you're going to be looking at $150 to $200. So that gap is very, very big in the price, but the gap in the smell quality is not really. Is Original Santal better? Yes. From a quality, from performance standpoints, yes, it smells better. But can we also say that it is overpriced when you've got Individuel that is very, very close at a much cheaper price? Yes, that is a great example of an overpriced fragrance and a less expensive counterpart that does the job very, very well. Now, like I said, Original Santal smells better, and I always say that if you love the scent DNA, you go out and buy Big Boy. If you love Original Santal, and every time you're putting on Individuel, you're gonna wish it was Santal, you're gonna be thinking, oh, this could be a little bit better. It's a question of smelling your best. And if you really love that scent DNA, if you wear it a lot, I think you should still go with the best, which in this case would be Original Santal. I don't want you guys to get confused when I make these videos. Just because I say something overpriced doesn't mean don't buy this fragrance. When I say it's overpriced, I just mean when you look at the prices and what you get at $30 versus what you get at $200, the gap is not that big for the price difference. It is not justified. Just because somebody says it's overpriced does not mean do not buy it. For me, the cheaper alternatives are just good if a fragrance isn't necessarily my favorite, and if the difference is not sizable enough for me to notice really when I'm wearing the two, it's not a big deal. Like, an example of this for me personally is Mugler Cologne, and it's versus all those niche soapy scents, Tom Ford and Neroli Portofino, Creed, Original Vetiver. I've smelled a couple more. Do they smell better than this? Yeah, they do. I think this is a little more simple, and I think it's a little better for a physical job, just because of the soapy quality it is. But when you smell those two fragrances versus Mugler Cologne, they are clearly higher quality. But for me, and what I want, this is totally fine. So you have to ask yourself, how much do I like this fragrance? What do I want it for? Would just having the cheaper alternative be enough? A great example of where it isn't enough for me is going back to Creed. We got Virgin Island Water. So Virgin Island Water, there's nothing really that copies this exactly to me. You've got an Alexandria fragrance called Hawaii Volcano, which is more limey and less coconut to my nose. And you've also got Tommy Bahama St. Bart's, which is tequila, and again, there's no coconut in that. For me personally, I love this. I love exactly this. It is a 9.5 out of 10 if I had to judge it on how much I enjoy it. While those two fragrances are good, and I think that they're close enough to Virgin Island Water to make this overpriced, I don't own them, and I never will, because I prefer this. It is a better option for me. And even though it's overpriced, it's still better. So who cares if it's a markup if you really love the fragrance? That shouldn't really matter. Just because a fragrance is cheap doesn't mean it's bad, but by that same token, just because a fragrance has cheaper alternatives that smell very, very close, that does not mean that you cannot buy the big boy. Guys, I hope that cleared the air about what I think is overpriced, at least when it comes to the style of videos that I've been doing. Like I said, if you want to get into overpriced for individual fragrances, I think there's a lot of bickering and back and forth that goes into that. And who's really right? To each his nose, right? But I think when you look at something like this, when you've got a fragrance, like I said, that is much cheaper, smells very similar, you have to say that the big one is overpriced. It's just that simple. Anyway, let us know what you think about this topic down below. What makes an overpriced fragrance for you? Guys, this has been The Sentrepreneur. If you enjoyed this video and haven't done so already, I would encourage you to please subscribe down below to my YouTube channel. Tons of new fragrance content. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button for overpriced fragrances, and hit that bell to get notified when I come out with a new video. Follow me on Snapchat. My name is down in the description somewhere. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you're looking forward to the third installment of overpriced fragrances and their less expensive counterparts. If you haven't checked out the first two, they will be linked in the description. I will see you in the next video. Have an awesome day.